For decades, Johnson & Johnson's baby powder was one of the world's most trusted household products. Millions of families used it for babies and personal hygiene, believing it was completely safe. And today, that same product is at the center of one of the biggest product liability cases in history. As Johnson & Johnson has agreed to pay an estimated $5.5 billion to settle nearly 76,000 lawsuits, claiming that its talc-based baby powder caused ovarian cancer. The company, however, continues to deny the allegations. So if Johnson & Johnson says that its product was safe, why is it paying billions of dollars? Let us understand the complete story. Well, firstly, let us shed light that how did the controversy begin. Notably, the dispute centers around talc, a naturally occurring mineral that is used in cosmetics because it absorbs moisture and reduces friction. And thousands of women claim that long-term use of Johnson & Johnson's talc-based baby powder for feminine hygiene caused ovarian cancer. Many lawsuits also allege that some talc deposits contained asbestos, a known cancer-causing substance. Well, Johnson & Johnson has consistently denied all these claims, maintaining that decades of scientific research show its cosmetic talc was safe, asbestos-free, and not linked to ovarian cancer. But why is the company paying $5.5 billion then? Well, Johnson & Johnson says that the settlement is not an admission of guilt, and according to the company, the payment is intended to end years of expensive legal battles and provide certainty for both the company and the claimants. And the proposed settlement covers around 76,000 existing ovarian cancer lawsuits in the United States. And if 95% of eligible claimants approve the deal, it will become legally binding. The company plans to pay about $3 billion in 2027 with the remaining amount in 2028. And depending on the number of approved claims, the total payout could exceed $7 billion. Importantly, the settlement applies only to existing cases and does not cover future lawsuits. So what is the legal battle that lasted more than 15 years? Well, let us highlight about it. Notably, the courtroom battle has produced several major verdicts over the years, and in 2018, a Missouri jury awarded $4.69 billion to 22 women, although the amount was later reduced to $2.1 billion. And in 2024, Johnson & Johnson agreed to pay $700 million to settle allegations from 42 U.S. states over the marketing of its talc products. Well, several other cases resulted in both large and smaller compensation awards, highlighting how unpredictable jury decision had become. Now, let us shed light on the failed bankruptcy strategy. In order to resolve thousands of lawsuits at once, Johnson & Johnson tried a controversial legal approach known as the Texas two-step. The company created separate subsidiaries to absorb talc-related liabilities and attempted to settle the claims through bankruptcy courts. However, the U.S. court rejected the strategy, ruling that a financially healthy company could not use bankruptcy simply to avoid mass litigation. And following those setbacks, Johnson & Johnson returned to negotiations, leading to the current settlement proposal. So what changed after this controversy? Well, the controversy significantly changed the future of the product. Johnson & Johnson stopped selling talc-based baby powder in the US and Canada in 2020 and later replaced it worldwide with a cornstarch-based formula. And in 2023, the company also spun off its consumer health business into Kenvue while retaining responsibility for talc-related lawsuits in North America. So what does this mean for the brand? Well, beyond the financial cost, the controversy has affected Johnson & Johnson's reputation, and for decades, the company built its image around trust and safety. Now, many consumers are questioning whether corporate transparency and accountability were handled appropriately. Although Johnson & Johnson continues to insist its products were safe, agreeing to pay billions of dollars to settle thousands of cases has inevitably influenced public perception. So what is the bigger picture that we are looking at currently? Well, the proposed settlement still requires approval from 95% of eligible claimants before it becomes final if approved. It will bring one of the largest corporate legal battles in American history closer to an end. And whether the settlement helps Johnson & Johnson rebuild public trust remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, that this case will be remembered as one of the most significant product liability controversies ever faced by a global company, and a powerful reminder that for any brand, consumer trust is just as valuable as the product itself. That's all for now. Stay tuned to the Savera for more updates. Do like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.